My name's Kate. I am a high school math teacher in the middle of my 18th year. Today's Vlogmas video, I thought that I would share with you guys several teacher books. A lot of them are math related books that I've read over the last, I don't know, several years, 10 years maybe. And I just really enjoyed them, and I just wanted to share some of those with you guys. So most of them I don't have the physical copy of the book. Most of them I just borrow and read on my Kindle. So I will, anytime I'm talking about those books, I'll just pop up a picture somewhere over here, and so that you guys can see those and just kind of give you a quick, like, hey, this is what the book's about, or this is, why I wanted to share this book with you. So the first book, and the only one that I have a physical copy of, is called Teach Like a Pirate by David Burgess, and I absolutely love this book. It's been years since I read this. In fact, this was a COVID read that I did, and it was just a lot of fun, a lot of really great ideas. Now, I read it digital first, and so when I was reading it digitally, I made tons and tons of notes just in a notebook. So the book is completely clean, but I want to reread it again. Maybe that's going to be a Christmas thing that I do, is read this one again and go through it and get so many ideas, because I just remember after reading this, like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed. And it just, how to teach like a pirate, finding that passion again, finding that rapport, and just different ideas to use in the classroom. So in one of the sections, there's this, I like to move it, and just talking in different ways, start thinking about this kinesthetic hook, getting those kids excited about the lesson. So how can I incorporate movement into the lesson? Can we throw something, roll something, catch something inside or outside the classroom? Can we get up and act something? Now, I know some of these, maybe not acting about math, but maybe you can, so, and it just gives you all these great questions to just think about. What's in it for me, finding hobbies that students are interested in and using those as your hook, the interior design hook. How can I transform my room to create the ultimate atmosphere for this lesson? Okay, we're not going to do that all the time, but every once in a while, why not? How can I change the lighting for mood? Can I block out all light and just use accent lights to emphasize certain things? Just all sorts of fun things to do with the kids. The reality TV hook. How can I design my lesson to take advantage of the popular reality TV, right? So just finding ways and thinking of things, you're like, duh, that makes so much sense. But, sometimes you just need that book to be like, duh, don't forget common sense. So Teach Like a Pirate. Awesome. I will be sure to leave all of the books that I talk about in the description below so that you guys can check out any of the ones that you are interested in looking at. So just sharing with you guys all the notes that I took about Teach Like a Pirate. So, yes, and I got fancy and I, added some stickers and highlights, but look at all of the stuff I found super helpful, super exciting. Look at, there's so much that I took notes on. Pretty much all of this right here. Found it really good. So Teach Like a Pirate, strongly. That's probably my #1 recommendation. The next book that I want to talk about, I listened to this summer. I'm not sure that I could have actually read this completely, but listening to it, it was fantastic. It's called Zero, The Biography of a Dangerous Idea. And it was, okay, sorry, history teachers, if you're watching, I don't really enjoy history. However, this was really cool because it just talked about the history of zero, how zero came about, and the history of numbers. And the first half of the book for me was super interesting because, it just went all the way back to the start of time and where they just, we just needed counting numbers because we were just counting, 1 cow, 2 cows, and so on, and eventually getting into this need for zero. And what I found fun was, as I was teaching the hierarchy of numbers to my students, just the review that first week, I was able to share with them some of those interesting facts. And some of my kids were like, yeah, whatever, that's not super exciting. But some of my kids found it really interesting. And I found that throughout some of my random lessons throughout the year, I've pulled back information that I've learned from this story, and I've been able to share it with my kids. So I definitely think, this one might be one if you're interested, or, if you listen to audiobooks, this might be an audiobook listen. I did find the second half to be a little less exciting. It got more into the science side of zero. So science teachers also would be a great read for you guys. So again, that was Zero, A Biography of a Dangerous Idea. Another book that I read, and this was for a book study that the state of Indiana did many summers ago, and it was called Copyrighteous. And I really enjoyed this. I took lots of notes on this. I was definitely in a note-taking phase and making it look really fun. And this was just, really talking about kind of deep diving into curriculum. And, here, one of the quotes that I wrote, curriculum guides the path you take, but you get to decide what to wear, eat, and do along the path. And it was really empowering of like, hey, you need to make sure that you are growing as an educator, you're designing your curriculum so it fits the needs of your students. Another quote that I really thought was super powerful in this one, if educators are expecting students to create and produce to show learning, educators must be willing to do the same. And I think that just speaks volumes for teaching. We can't just create a lesson and then 18 years later, still do that same lesson. We need to continue to grow and to work and to, help improve so that our kids can improve. And so this book just, again, really reinforcing that, making sure that you guys are, or that we as teachers are doing what's best for the kids, meeting the kids where they're at, and changing up our lessons and changing up the way that we deliver things from year to year, because our students change from year to year. And this is really just that encouragement to make sure that we do that. Another book that I did with the book study a different year with, other teachers in Indiana is called The Collaborative Classroom. And the collaborative classroom was, just that, really kind of talking about the why of having a collaborative classroom and the how of it, and just really looking at how to create this collaborative culture within the classroom and teaching the students how to be, collaborative members of their group, because that's not something that they naturally can do on their own. And so, we have to make sure that we teach kids this. One of the things that it said that students need structure. So again, I'm looking at my notes here. So if you see me looking down, reading my notes that I took, we need to assign different roles. We could use a project management log. We need to make sure the kids understand how to do this idea of problem solving and not just immediately, I don't know how to do this, help me, right? And that's part of what this does. And so another chapter is all about teaching adaptability. So when students are obligated to work with new people, have and resolve conflicts with unfamiliar peers, and build professional relationships with peers outside of their friend group, they are forced to be agile and adaptive. And I think that that's so true, and that's something that we really need to start teaching our kids a little bit more how to do. So the collaborative classroom really goes deep into that, and that, if you want your kids to work more in groups, I would strongly recommend that as a book for you guys to read. The next book that I want to recommend is called The Productive Math Struggle. I read this one on and off over the summer, and I found it really interesting because this was just really a, not step-by-step plan, but it just kind of gave you all these ideas of why it's important to have students struggle, but not just struggle, having that productive struggle. So teaching the students how, again, as I talked about with the last book, to, they get a problem and it's difficult and they don't know what to do. Teaching the kids how to move past, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, I'm going to sit here and not do it, or I'm going to raise my hand and ask, and figure out how you can get past that and start working through that struggle. And I found this book to be super helpful. Unfortunately, I don't have any notes right now, so I can't go back and read some of those quotes like I did for the others, but it was just a really good way of helping students see that struggle really is a good thing, and that's how you're going to learn. But it was also a reminder for teachers of how we have to teach kids to struggle productively and to get out of that struggle productively. I know, using that word a lot. In the book, it does give actionable steps, it gives activities, it gives tools of how to do this. So it's not just like, oh, here's all these things. It kind of gives you those step-by-step ideas and instructional tasks and things that you can use so that you can implement this in the classroom. So definitely think, if you've got students that are struggling, don't we all have students that are struggling? So this is a really good read to kind of figure out how we can take that from students that are really struggling to start turning that into something a little bit more productive. The last book that I wanted to talk about, which I'm sure that you guys have probably seen before if you're in any sort of math communities, is called Building a Thinking Classroom. And even though it could be used in any class, it was definitely designed kind of with a math classroom in mind. And this is really all about empowering the students with their learning. The teacher is no longer the center of the classroom. In fact, it talks a lot about defronting the classroom, where there is no kids sitting in desks and rows and staring at the front of the board. There's no front of a classroom anymore. The kids are working in groups, and they don't even have, some classrooms got rid of the desks, or they kind of, they're an afterthought, because the kids have these vertical whiteboards, these non-permanent workspaces where they work out all of their problems on these vertical whiteboards and with their markers. And this is allowing them to, eliminate that fear of making a mistake, because it's super easy. Oh, you made a mistake, and just, wipe it off real quick and fix it. And it's a lot about that, and kind of chunking these tasks and breaking them down into manageable pieces, but having the students figure out how to solve the problems rather than the sit and get method. I haven't implemented this in my classroom yet, so I knew with the move that it wasn't the best time to start it this year, but I am going to reread the book and really work on figuring out how I can implement this for next year, even if it's not every day, even if it's just here and there. I think that it's going to be a great thing. So those are some of my book recommendations for teachers. I hope you guys like these recommendations. If you have ones that you think are a must read, please leave those in the comments below. I would love to read more. I love this type of thing. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in following along more with my journey as I teach, please subscribe. I do upload videos every Friday and every day here during Vlogmas. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.